Hey guys, my name is Brian B. I am a dance studio owner, an online business owner, and I also do some small business consulting. And I've had a lot of questions lately about paid advertising, especially for dance studios. We're really worried about putting out money to TV or radio or print or billboards or Facebook or Facebook or Google AdWords and getting a return on our investment. And we've all had horror stories where we put out $1,000 for advertising, we have 2 people call, we make no money, and then we stop spending money, and then we struggle getting new customers. So I want to talk about not necessarily the online advertising, because there's something that we need to pay attention to first within our studios, and that's our basic sales process and coming up with a lifetime customer value. What is someone worth to me when they come through the door over the time that they're with us? And first I want to tell you a quick story. Take a guess. Starbucks, obviously a big company. Cup of coffee, $5, right? We overpay $5 for coffee. And so the question is how much is the lifetime value of a customer of Starbucks? Take a guess. Got that number in your head? Okay, cool. It's like $14,000. So those Starbucks freaks who go to Starbucks every day, on average in their lifetime, they're going to spend $14,000. So Starbucks is not acquiring a customer who's going to spend $5 for a cup of coffee. They're acquiring a $14,000 lifetime customer value customer. So let's see if we can figure that out with a process within our studio. And again, I just did some numbers for my studio and I rounded them off to make the math easy because I didn't graduate college. I'm not really good with this type of stuff. But most of us have some sort of process where students come in. For us, it's a free lesson. Free lesson. And we had about 200 people take us up on our free lesson. Right off the, then we have, behind that we have an intro. With us, it's about a month-long intro package. Some people have a couple lessons. I prefer a slightly longer package. That way it gives me time to create rapport with the new students, help understand what they're after and what we have to offer, and they get to know us, we get to know them. So we have an intro package after that. Then, of course, we start to sell private lessons. So we're going to call this, for the sake of our argument, 4 privates. Whether you sell those as packages or like we do a subscription model. Then the next benchmark we talked about was 12 privates. Again, whether you're selling packages, with us it's just the 3-month mark. I want to see where our newbies are at the 3-month mark and how many of them we retain. Then we talk about this is going to be 50 visits. So maybe not necessarily 50 privates, but for us it's 50 visits. We're going to get to that. That's a magical number down there. So out of 200 people, right away, they took our free intro lesson. We paid a teacher. They came in. They came to our studio. They called. They looked us up. They showed up, right? These are not the people that didn't even show up. Of those 200 people, guess how many people didn't buy anything else? 85 people took my free lesson, out the door, gone. Paid the teacher. I'm at a loss. So at this point, after paying all those free lessons, I'm actually at negative $3,000. For paying out the teachers. Again, rounded off the numbers for you. But of the people that continued on, we had 115 bought our intro package, and that netted us about $20,000. Again, I rounded the numbers off to keep it round. So all of a sudden, the intro package, I'm profitable, and this is gross profit. This is not after we're paying the teachers. We're going to take out our money that we pay the teachers and for advertising at the end of this discussion. But free lesson, 200 people showed up. 85 of them kaputs. We kept 115 that took an intro lesson, so they took 4 lessons with us, got acquainted, did some group classes, boom, and promptly a bunch of them never came back. Of course, we follow up with them, etc., etc. That's a different discussion. But we had 32 people that took at least 4 more private lessons at a full price, whatever your rate is. I know it's higher in bigger cities. We're in a smaller market here, but that netted us about we grossed about $9,000 on that. Again, not taking out advertising expenses that we pay our teachers. Then my next benchmark was 3 months. So how many people made it to buy 3 months of lessons after that? So you stayed around for 3 or 4 months. And of those 28, we had a pretty good retention rate. We had 28 people that stayed around and continued on, right? So these are the people who are pretty serious about the dancing. And that made us about $16,000. Now, how many people made it a full year? How many people made 50 visits to our studio? Multiple private lessons, group classes that started with a free private lesson. Now, we're not talking about people who started with group classes. We're going to talk about that in a second. Actually, remember this number, $75. Remember that. Group class is $75. We'll come back to that. So of the 50 visits, the people that stayed with us a year, only 8 people out of that 200 stayed a full year with us as a regular student taking regular private lessons, plugging in. So that made us another $20,000 in private lessons and stuff for the year. So, but when I dug in a little deeper, right? Because of course these people, they do other things as well, right? They take group classes, we make money on that. They do showcases, they do competitions, all sorts of stuff. So we're not talking about that, that's extra on the side, but I'm just talking about tracking a sales funnel. So when we send an offer in through paid advertising, we can track how much those customers, those dancers, those students are worth to us. So what I dug into is out of these 8 people that stayed the full year, on average, they actually each spent $7,500 with us, right? These are the ones we're looking for. They do the competitions, they do the showcases, they buy dresses, they buy shoes, they buy t-shirts, they wear gear from our studio, they take multiple lessons. They're like us, they're the most passionate people. These are the people we're all looking for. It took me 200 people to get to 115 intros, to get to 32 people. It took another set of private lessons per month. 3 months after that, we still had 28 of them around. And then of course through the year, boom, we had our 8 hardcores. But here's the magic number. At $7,500 a piece, those 8 people were worth $60,000 to us. That's a lot of money. So if we add this all up, this came out to $105,000 to that, right? But that's what we call gross profit, right? That doesn't include me paying teachers. I'm assuming we have a studio and we're paying our bills before we start this process in earnest, right? So let's erase this. Let's talk about that $105,000 and what of it is really left for us in our pockets, in our bank accounts. And again, you guys know the deal. None of this works unless we do an awesome job and we're great dancers and we take care of our customers. That's the brilliant thing about all of this. It's not selling people, man. It's those 8 people that are hardcore, that are super passionate like us. We're trying to find those new people and link them into what we love about what we do. So of that $105,000, and I'm gonna go quickly look at my notes on my phone so I don't lie to you. Of that $105,000, remember my intro or my freebies cost me $3,000 to pay my teachers, right? So we're out that $3,000. Then paying the teachers out for all the lessons and stuff, again, rounding off the numbers just to keep these numbers round, but this is close depending upon how we all work. Another $52,000 went out, and it netted me $50,000 profit, right? After paying the teachers. But now how do we get those customers to begin with? We had to pay to advertise them. And this is the question that I get, right? People are like, well, I don't want to spend $1,000 because the phone only rings twice and I get no business out of it, right? So we have to be clear in understanding what our customer's worth. So actually, before we finish what the net is, let's talk about this. Well, so $50,000 in profit. How much did we spend in advertising to get that? About $25,000, about $2,000 a month. Again, I'm a big digital media person, so I believe in spending money for a good website and SEO, Google AdWords, bidding on those little ads at the top, and then Facebook marketing, which has become really big lately. We're going to do a case study about that at the very end. So later on, I'll give you a way to get the video for the case study for how we took $1,000 and turned it into, I think, $25,000 or $3,000 in profit. So $50,000, but we spent $25K in advertising. We ended up with $25,000 in profit, right? But now, not talking full lifetime customer value, because some of these students will stay longer and they'll be with me next year, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll take that out for just a second, but we'll just talk about that funnel that we spoke about. And when you take that $105,000 and divide it by the 200 freebies, 200 free first lessons, and these are not talking about the people who came in for group classes and stuff. Each one of these people that starts through that free lesson is worth $525. So for each free lesson I teach, if I do my sales process correctly, right, and I can hit my numbers, and we can track this, and you can see which teachers are good, which teachers are bad. It takes training, and we got to be good at what we do. Of course, if you suck at what you do, this is not going to work, right? So $525 per person if I could get them from my intro to or from my freebie to an intro package, and then sell them private lessons from there, right? And group classes and whatever their budget allows. And we've got different ways, and we're not hardcore sales, and we are not high dollar either. We definitely have packages where we let people in on the low end. That's a whole nother video. But remember the $75? If someone just shows up to a group class on average, that person will on average spend about $75 in their lifetime with me, right? So that might just be group classes for a month and disappear. They might take a class here, a class there. Some of them will become hardcore, but if they enter in as a group class student, even though we make money on this, for sure, about a third of the revenue is group class revenue, they're worth far less to me than this $525. So here's the question. If I asked you to borrow $1, you'd probably give it to me. If I said, hey, can I borrow $5? You go, yeah, sure, what you need it for? If I say, give me $100, you go, wait a minute, when am I gonna get it back, right? But remember, we spent $25,000 in advertising, and we made $25,000 in profit, and we're able to pay our teachers out money, right? So we're creating jobs, and we have happy dancers, which is what we all got into this to begin with. Most of us did, right? And then in the back end, we go, holy cow, we actually have to run a business and pay our mortgage and take care of kids and family. And as we get older, you know, we're off the floor with back injury. I have a back injury. So I really had to pay attention to stuff. So that's the number you're looking for, is how much is your customer worth coming through the door, right? And how can we monetize that and have a sales process? So if you don't have those things, I encourage you to go get some help in implementing a clear process that you can track, and you can see which teachers are doing well, which aren't. And let me say this, everything matters, right? We're gonna talk about this in the Facebook advertising video. Everything matters, right? Do you answer your phone? I find that's the biggest sin for all of us, right? We have to answer the phone when someone calls, because that phone call is worth something to us too, because that turns into the freebie lesson, that turns into a back-end customer and a happy dancer. So how you answer the phone matters, what your physical location matters, what the teachers look like matter. I had hired some consultants that actually picked on my bathroom. They said it wasn't pristine and clean enough, because people, you know, create perceived value on that. So everything matters in this process, but if you don't first have the gist of a sales process, putting money into advertise is not gonna work. Something could be broken in that process. All right, so if you want I got to do a whole separate video with a new whiteboard for the Facebook marketing video. We just did one because it's coming up Christmas time. We sell gift certificates online through Facebook marketing. How we took $1,000 and turned it into, I forget the exact numbers, I'll look them up, $3,000 or $4,000 in profit, and created new customers and goodwill. So if you're interested in that, shoot me an email at brian@westcoastswingonline.com. That's Brian, B-R-I-A-N, westcoastswingonline.com. That's my website. We sell online dance lessons there. So if you have any questions, you can shoot me an email there, and good luck to you, and I hope you guys create lots of happy dancers moving forward into the new year.